Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of the Godzilla Garage, where I exclusively talk about Godzilla and Godzilla related content. And it's an awesome time to be a Godzilla fan. With the success of the Hollywood 2014 movie, Godzilla is back in the spotlight for the first time in about 20 years, and with the sequel coming out later this year, Godzilla King of the Monsters, fans are going crazy in anticipation of the movie to see Hollywood's take on the other kaiju within the franchise in the likes of Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. With 65 years of history, however, and being a household name and a cultural icon, there are still a lot of people that have not seen a Godzilla movie, or there are a lot of people that really don't know where to start if they become interested in the franchise due to the franchise having 35 movies. Hell, someone asked me on my Facebook page a while back, what Godzilla movies would I recommend for a newcomer? And I couldn't answer them at that period because I'm the type of person that easily gets caught up in the details when I really like something. After a couple of weeks, I thought about it, and I think I have come up with a concise list of movies any newcomer to the franchise should watch if they want to see that they'll be interested in Godzilla movies. So, here is my 5 movies that I recommend any newcomer to watch if they want to see that they're into Godzilla. Now, before I begin, let me start off by saying a couple of things. First off, there are 4 eras of Godzilla movies. The Showa era, the Heisei era, the Millennium era, and the current era, the Monsterverse, which are the Hollywood movies. Okay? Number 2, all right? Godzilla is a character in a franchise that can easily appeal to anyone. You know, the movies go from pretty much dark and serious to B-movie cheese to, God, some creative things that you never even heard of to kid-friendly superhero movie. So, if you're a fan of a certain genre of movie, rest assured that Godzilla will have you covered. So with that out the way, let's start my list with number 1, the first movie anyone should watch if they're interested in Godzilla, the original Gojira, or Godzilla 1954. Not to be confused with Godzilla King of the Monsters, 1956 that had Raymond Burr. The Japanese cut actually gives us an awesome introduction to Godzilla as he was meant to be. A symbol for the aftermath of the nuclear bomb that dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In this movie, Godzilla is basically that symbol that actually decimates Japan and also has a dark undertone as well as overtone, in addition to having, ethical battle between, if Godzilla is a destructive monster, what could actually stop or hinder his rampage. And with that, we have another weapon that could be as equally destructive that, if unchecked, could actually be the doom of mankind. A lot of heavy stuff, and this is why Godzilla actually became popular, because this movie is actually one of the best movies ever made, hands down, even if you're not a Godzilla fan. Now, from there, Godzilla actually started to get into, more entertainment, mindless entertainment, where you would put him against a different kaiju. And this is where I say you should skip a couple of movies and go straight to my number 2 pick, Mothra vs. Godzilla. This is a movie where Godzilla is still an antagonist, but you see him go up against one of the more important kaiju within the franchise, Mothra. Here, Mothra's origins are actually explained, and as well, we get the return of Godzilla in one of the best costumes you've ever seen him in. Plus, you have another Godzilla movie that has interesting characters within it, and we have a great fight between the King of the Monsters as well as the Queen of the Monsters, or I should actually just say the King of the Kaijus and the Queen of the Kaijus, because Mothra is considered the Queen of the Kaijus. As good as Mothra vs. Godzilla is, oh, and I must state this, I'm talking about the 1964 Mothra vs. Godzilla. You know, watch that one right after you watch Godzilla or Gojira. But then after you've seen Mothra vs. Godzilla, you should go to the immediate movie that follows it, which is my number 3 pick, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. Oh, this is where Godzilla makes that drastic turn from, being an antagonist to being a hero. And to top it off, this introduces us to Godzilla's greatest nemesis in the franchise, King Ghidorah, who is a plant-destroying three-headed dragon, and it takes the might of Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan to defeat King Ghidorah. This is one of those movies that, it can be taken as B-movie cheese, but it is still done in a serious and entertaining way that it is not complete schlock all the time. And to be honest, the human aspect, while weaker compared to the previous two movies, it is still very engaging and intriguing. From Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, we stop from watching the Showa era movies and we transition into the second run known as the Heisei with the first movie of that series, The Return of Godzilla, or Godzilla 1984. Again, not to confuse it with Godzilla 1985, this movie was to be a reboot of the Showa era where those movies ended up getting more goofier and slapsticky and not taken serious enough. Here, we bring Godzilla back to his destructive roots as a force of nature, and it is this movie that actually puts Godzilla into that view and is basically the modern way Godzilla is portrayed in movies. While it came out 30 years ago, it is still the most relevant take on the character, as well as introducing a lot of themes you see in the current movies, with super weapons being made by the military to combat Godzilla, as well as, scientific hypotheses that Godzilla has certain properties where he can mutate other things, or if you get some of his cells, they can make different kaiju. So, as well as a lot of political and cultural relevant terms that Godzilla incorporates down the road. And finally, I talk about the one movie in the Millennium era, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Now, this is a third rendition of Mechagodzilla, but I feel for any newcomer, this is actually a good jumping off point because, we get Mechagodzilla done in a very creative way while basically being another reboot, but continuing the original movie, giving you multiple Godzillas, as well as giving you awesome action sequences, great characters within the movie that will keep you engaged, and to top it off, an even pace of kaiju action. Top it off, this movie will, by this time, you will know that you're interested in the Godzilla franchise, and it will show you other kaiju movies that you might be interested in. So those are my picks. Agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter at TokenDave80, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. I also have 2 other movies that I could recommend, but I'll put those in the description below because I don't want to overburden you guys at the moment. But until then, it's been Token Dave, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of y'all later.